This is DRF Race of the Day. Dan Illman, Mike Beer getting set for Wednesday's DRF Race of the Day, the 5th at Keeneland. But before we do, I want to remind you, Kentucky Derby right around the corner. Get your first look at the field with contender past performances available only in DRF Kentucky Derby packages. Along with the contender PPs, you'll get final PPs, Derby Day betting strategies, the player's guide, and clocker reports available with your choice of classic, formulator, or Timeform US PPs. You can get them now at DRF.com. Here's the field for Wednesday's Race of the Day. You can download free formulator past performances for this race on the Race of the Day event page at DRF.com. Access them and handicap along with us as we kick off the 50-cent pick 4 at Keeneland on Wednesday. Overflow field of maidens going a mile on the turf, and it's a competitive group, Mike.
Yeah, it really does look like a pretty competitive group. I mean, you're talking about a bunch of horses who only have, one or two starts behind them, Dan. At least certainly several of the contenders only have one or two starts. So it'll be interesting to see what happens.
And with several contenders only having one or two starts and a first-time starter thrown into the mix, it is difficult to project the pace. Timeform US believes that it might be on the slow side with the 12 King of Miami, blinkers on, new Lasix, new gelding, coming off a long layoff, expected to show speed for Wesley Ward.
Yeah, he may not have any much choice, Dan, from post 12. I guess he could come out of there running, but I think you're right that a lot could change with this pace once the gates open.
A horse that hopes that Timeform US pace projector is not correct is the one, Lavish McTavish. We see him lingering near the back of the Timeform US pace projector. This is a well-bred horse. I was surprised he was dismissed at such a big price in his career debut. A son of California Chrome out of the Grade 2 stakes-winning turf horse Moulin de Mougin. This horse just didn't get out of the gate in his debut, and I thought he ran on in the end.
Yeah, he did. He got bumped at the start, both sides. He got hit from horses on both sides at the start, and his rider that day, Ricardo Santana, just took him back, Dan. Once he got bumped, they took him back to last, and they really didn't rush him at all until they came to the stretch. Once they got into the stretch, he took him outside. This horse actually ran a little bit there. He made up a little bit of ground. He was closest at the finish. I feel like his debut, in some ways, could be a little bit better than it looks.
And the third place horse from that race came back to place twice in maiden special company at Gulfstream with buyers of 72 and 75 respectively. The number 2 is Dogwoods Cosby, trying turf for the first time, stretching out for the first time after going off at 90-1 in his debut at Turfway, a race in which he didn't do much.
Yeah, he just didn't really do any running in that race. He didn't break that well from the gate, but after that, he just really never picked his feet up. He does have a turf pedigree on the dam side, Dan. There's a lot of turf down there, but man, I would have liked to see him show a little bit of run first time out.
The number 3, Snow House, goes out for potent connections. Brad Cox is the trainer, and this horse, as you can see, does have a little bit of tactical speed, sort of an even performance in his debut, going a mile at the fairgrounds. I question the field he was facing.
Yeah, I don't know if that was a great field or not, Dan. The more I looked at this race and the more I went back through his career debut, I think this is the horse to beat in here. I actually feel like he might have run better than it looks first time out. He obviously has a big pedigree. He's a Juddmonte homebred, but they just took a pretty big hold of him first time through the stretch in his career debut, Dan. And he just looked like he didn't quite settle to me early on in the race. Like he wasn't sure what he was doing. He got into a little traffic at the end of the backstretch. He was shuffled back and lost position. And I thought once he got clear in the stretch, I thought he actually ran a little bit at the end of the race. I think this is the horse to beat.
Snowhouse finished ahead of Weather Prayer in that race. Weather Prayer, the number 4, just doesn't seem to have a lot of early speed. And in a big and bulky field like this, it's going to come down to not only whether he gets the right pace set up, but whether he gets the right trip.
Yeah, that's true. He exits the same race as Snowhouse does down at the fairgrounds. And I just didn't really see as much of an excuse for this guy, Dan. They just rated him. He came to the outside in the stretch. I mean, he ran on. He was a little green in the stretch. It looked like he was trying to lug in a little bit there, but he just didn't really have a big finish.
First-time starter, Calumet Farm owns the 5, Tango, Tango, Tango. This one by Tourist, winner of the Breeders' Cup Mile. Tourist 3 for 34 with first-time turf runners. The dam has foaled 3 winners from as many runners, but none of them won on the turf. And I look at this pedigree, Mike, I just don't see a lot of grass on the bottom. Tough spot for a firster.
Yeah, that was my problem too, Dan. I'm certainly expecting Tourist to be a fine turf sire, but I just didn't see really any pedigree for this on the bottom.
The 6 Purple Dream went off at 54-1 for his career debut at Turfway Park, and he easily exceeded expectations. He didn't break very well. There wasn't a big pace in front of him, but he stormed down the stretch to just miss with a very respectable buyer speed figure. Now he's going to do a lot of different things, stretching out and switching to turf with a turf pedigree.
Yeah, I mean, I'll take his chances pretty seriously off his debut, Dan. I know he was a big price in there, but he had plenty of excuses. Took a good bump at the start to wind up last, made a nice run around the turn, and he did not stop closing through the stretch. I thought he ran well.
The number 7 pregame is 3-1 on the morning line. That's a far cry from the 34-1 odds he went off at in his turf debut, a race we'll look at right now at Gulfstream in late February. He showed much improved early speed, stretching out in distance for the first time, and he holds on to finish ahead of a couple next out winners, with the 4th place horse returning to graduate at Gulfstream with an 83 buyer.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that would be one thing that you would maybe want to look at, Dan, if you like this horse, because at the end of the day, that's the horse that he was basically racing around the second turn and through the stretch, My Sea Cottage. He wound up out finishing that horse for 3rd, even though he never looked like he was going to hold on in there. I mean, I don't know. I thought he ran fine last time. It didn't make me want to bet him back in this race, Dan, especially if he's going to be the favorite.
Let's watch the well-bred Dance Some Mo's turf debut. Second start for trainer Graham Motion. Improved performance. Got up close to a moderate pace. Here he is, striking the lead on the outside, but sifting sands for Chad Brown snuck through the inside. I thought he was very, very game to finish second. He's an Uncle Mo out of a stakes-winning turf router, and you just think he's going to continue to improve for Motion.
Yeah, I think he probably will too, Dan. I mean, I guess you could argue in that race there, if he hadn't gotten, sort of floated wider at the top of the stretch to let the winner get through, this horse might have actually won that race. He ran fine in there. Sifting Sands did come back to run in the Woodhaven at Aqueduct over the weekend. He did not run well and finish last. But I still feel like this horse is a very dangerous runner in here.
Number 9 is Find New Roads, and Find New Roads is going to try turf for the first time, and this horse sold for $950,000 as a yearling. He's by Quality Road, who wins 11% with first-time turf runners. The Dam won on the turf. She's foaled 1 turf winner. You look at this pedigree, way back, I think the 3rd Dam is the Great Weekend Surprise, which makes this the family of AP Indy and Summer Squall. I think this horse is going to improve switching to turf, and I think he's going to show good speed.
Yeah, I feel like you might see speed out of him too, and I guess that could make him dangerous, Dan. Otherwise, I didn't really find that much to like about this horse, who just hasn't run well in his first 2 starts on dirt. I realize there's pedigree on the go back, and the Dam did win on turf, but she won sprinting. Her other foals, who were kind of okay on turf, they were sprinters on the grass as well. I don't know, man. I didn't find enough to like about this horse. He'd have to be a really big price.
February Sun is the number 10. February Sun is somewhat interesting. Even though we haven't seen him since late October, he returns for his 3-year-old debut as a new gelding. And his last turf race, he finished ahead of 2 next out winners. This is a decent family, Mike. The Dam was a stakes winner on the turf. This horse is a full to the multiple stakes winning turf horse, My Barley.
Yeah, this horse does have pedigree. You just, have to hope he gets faster now from 2 to 3, which is certainly not out of the question. His last turf race was fine. He did have a pretty good pace early in that race, though, to run into.
Running for Cover is the number 11. This is a half-brother to a stakes winner on synthetic. He exits a race on synthetic where he didn't run very well. The race did produce 2 next out winners. The 4th place horse coming back to graduate at Woodbine with a 76 buyer.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you'll maybe see a little speed out of this horse as well, Dan. His first 2 starts at Woodbine last summer, both came on the turf. He showed speed in both of those races. He really didn't have much of a finish either time, but he did take a little step forward in his second start.
As mentioned in the Open, lots of changes for King of Miami as he returns from an August layoff. The son of American Pharaoh is now a gelding, getting Lasix, getting blinkers, and here is his one and only turf start at Saratoga last summer. I thought for the most part, Mike, the trip was there. He saved ground in behind the lead. The rail opens up, and he shoots on through. This is a pretty good bunch, though.
It's a decent field, so I guess he has that going for him. But he got a great trip in this race, though, Dan. Right there, it opened up for him. He had every chance in this race, and not only isn't he good enough, he's not even close to good enough. He's very easily outfinished. I didn't, necessarily care for this performance at all. And it just feels like because it's Ward and Rosario, I mean, Ward's just on fire down there at Keeneland. This horse probably takes money, and I just wouldn't take a short price on him.
Commodore Perry on the also eligible list, Happy American, a main track only. So we go to our top selections for the Wednesday race of the day. Find New Roads is 12-1 on the morning line. And while he hasn't run very well on the dirt in his first two starts, he sold for a lot of money. There's a smidge of turf pedigree, but perhaps most important for me, I think he's going to show stretch out speed for Gabriel Saez and at least put himself in position turning into the stretch at a decent price. You're going with Lavish McTavish off the layoff. This horse ran sneaky well in his debut.
Yeah, I think that 2-year-old debut might be a little better than it looks, Dan. And he could certainly get a better trip this time if he gets out of the gate a little better. So I'll give him a chance at a price in here. Again, I thought Snowhouse was the horse to beat. I just also felt like he could be the favorite. And I guess I wouldn't want the favorite in here.
15-1 on the morning line for Lavish McTavish. Mike's going 1, 3, 6, and 8. I'm going 9, 6, 7, and 8 in the Wednesday race of the day, the 5th at Keeneland. Good luck.